vast proportion of our society has been converted at a low level, the ideology of Satanism. That's where we're at in the world. Most people operate at a satanic ideology in their mind and don't even know it. They're de facto Satanists without even knowing that they're subscribing to the satanic religion. Me Satanists, after the whole character of Dr. Evil making a small clone of himself in the Austin Powers, the comedy trilogy of Austin Powers that he called Mini Me, which looks like him, but it's a small variant of him. Well, they're making people into mini me Satanists worldwide. They're giving them a lower level ideology of the old religion and getting them to subscribe to it on a societal scale. So the number one thing, and service to others and service to truth above all else, or is it service to self above all else? Just think about it from that level. Are most people egotists who are only concerned with living their own lives and whatever they can to put themselves in a better position in life all day long, 24 hours a day, from the minute they wake up till the minute they go to bed at night? Is that the majority of the worldview of the people of this world? You better damn well believe it is. If you're being honest with yourself, you better damn well believe that. Accept that, because that's true. So that's all we have to do is look at society and be up. Just about what we see. Is most of society, are they in the satanic ideology of egotism, only worrying about themselves and caring about themselves? Stop lying to yourself if you're saying that's not the case, because it 100% absolutely is. And we're talking about a good 95 to 98% of this species. And I'm being generous. So that's the number one tenet that Satanism as a religion teaches. Service to self is life's highest goal and aspiration. Take care of you and your own, and don't worry about what's happening with other people. That's what's gotten us into this mess. That's why we remain slaves, because people don't care about what's going on with the rights of all people. Got in a conversation with somebody this week and told them that the real money of the ruling elite, the Satanists and dark occultists that run the world, is the trafficking of children. You think people go, oh, their real money is gold. They don't use the fiat currency system. Their real money is precious metal, and their ultimate real money is gold. Bullshit. Bullshit. Their real money is children, is small, that they enact horrific acts of torture and pedophilia upon. That's their real core aspect of their religion, and that's their real monetary system. And people think they know what's going on in this world. They know how the elite operate. They know how the masters of the world operate. And their money is gold. Their money is children. That's their monetary system of modern Satanism as a ideology. And again, this is the compressed version of their ideology. It has come down through the centuries. And these have become the main four crystallized tenets in this worldview, in this ideology. The second is moral relativism. This is the concept that right and wrong moral relativism is down to its core aspects. Right and wrong, humans get to make that up. Those are human constructs. They don't exist in nature. That's not part of the laws of the universe. Those are constructs that man gets to make up. And you know how many jackasses out there still believe that shit? Tons and tons of fucking jackasses right in the freedom movement believe that shit. They're moral relativists. They believe right and wrong come from man, and they're damn certain of it. And they're all too proud to tell you. That shit up. We just apply that. It doesn't exist in nature. There's no such thing as natural law. They think they're going to be free. Wow. You're a sorry sack of shit if that's what you think. I have to just say it honestly and openly in street language to people. And guess what? I'll say it right to your face. You're a dumb, sorry sack of shit if that's what you think. If that's what you believe. You know what you really are? You're a Satanist. You're a Satanist. You're a Satanist if that's how you think. In thought, in action, a de facto Satanist who doesn't even know that they are espousing satanic ideology from the satanic religion. And guess what? That's the anarchist movement who believe erroneously that they can be a moral relativist and ever be free. If you think that rights come from human beings, then you, by definition, must also believe, by definition, that human beings can change the definition of right and wrong whenever they see fit to, at their preference, or at their whim. By definition. That was one of my slides in one of my past presentations when I talked about moral relativism. I put a big Baphomet symbol behind it because that is the core ideology of Satanism. Human beings make up what right and wrong are. Therefore, if we decide we want to change what rights are, we can change them at any given time. If we want to turn a right into a wrong, that's perfectly our right to do that. We want to turn a wrong into a right, we can do it whenever we feel like it. Because guess what? We made them up. Right and wrong are things we made up. And guess what, folks? It's not just them. It's their mini-me minions out there in the truth movement, in the freedom movement, in the anarchist movement. And you're sorry sacks of dumbass shit. And come and see me, and I'll tell you that right to your face, based on you thinking that man makes up rights. Because you're such an atheist that you're so opposed to the idea that there is a force more powerful than you that puts law into effect in creation, that you want to associate true spirituality and the true laws of the universe with bullshit religion. In your little tiny brain mind, you can't see higher power and a higher force as nothing with world religion. Ecology isn't advanced enough to think outside of that two-dimensional thinking, out of that dialectical thinking. Because you don't have the trivium in hand. You don't have true truth discovery methodology in hand and in mind. Your mind isn't sophisticated enough for that. And maybe your intellect quotient is just in shitter in addition to that. Maybe it's just, you just don't have the intellectual acumen to process that and come to an accurate understanding. Doesn't matter how much you know about anything else. If you don't understand that rights don't come from man, and we can't change what right and wrong are because it's based on whether behavior causes harm or not, you have no actual intelligence. And I'm not the person who's going to sugarcoat it and go, well, maybe you should leave that. No, I'm going to tell you you're a dumb sack of shit to your face. I'm tired and done with it. I'm done with it. In case people can't see this from the past few episodes, I'm at my wit's end. I'm at my absolute point when it comes to any tolerance or any kind of giving leeway and making any kind of excuses for people who think like this. Because there are no excuses for them. They're a sorry excuse. But that's what moral relativism, that's the second main tenet of the satanic ideology, that right and wrong are just man-made constructs, and we can change them whenever we feel like. This, of course, an out-of-control ego believing that they get to make up what right and wrong are, inevitably leads to 3 and 4. Tenets 1 and 2 are the basis. Tenets 3 and 4 are the social expression of the ideological foundations of egotism and moral. You put those in place, and they harden and crystallize in the individual ego, and you invariably lead to the societal outcomes in Tenet 3 and Tenet 4, which is social Darwinism and eugenics. Tenet number 3, Satanism, is social Darwinism. This basically postulates the most dominant and cruel human beings should become the masters of humanity, rule over the masses of humanity. That's what social Darwinism essentially postulates. Your mindset and your genetics got you there, therefore you should become the master race and rule over the rest of the unwashed hordes. That's called social Darwinism. It's applying vicious animal behavior and taking it and extruding it through the human domain. It's a smack-ass ideology even in the animal kingdom, because Darwin was incorrect and his theory of macrobiological evolution is wrong, not borne out in the science, not borne out in the fossil record, and people still religiously cling to that as a religion, when in fact it has never been proven to be the case and never will. And those same people won't look at human intervention theory, or as I call it, human interference theory, because that's too horrifying to contemplate. That's what it really comes down to. You want to know what it really comes down to? It's not that there's no evidence to support it. There's tons of evidence to support it. What it comes down to when it comes to that, folks, as a brief aside, is the mindset of the people is just too weak to take it in. That's all it really comes down to. They're not hard enough as men and true women to acknowledge the horror of the real human situation. Because this is a fucking zoo run by a type 2 civilization. You want to know what Earth really is? It's a hell, a prison, a zoo run by a type 2 civilization that is unseen. That's the real horror that we're in. If the truth be told, if we're being honest with ourselves. But you know how many men and women can tolerate that in this actual psyche and bear to look at the plain, vicious, naked truth of that? Piss poor pittance. A piss poor pittance. That's how many. So going back to these tenets, social Darwinism is that the most cruel can just rule the roost because, hey, they scratched and clawed their way to get there, and animals do that, and so we should emulate animals because we're just another animal. That's what that theory postulates. That's what that tenet postulates. And then once you have those 3 in place, it's a hop, skip, and a jump, or I should say it's just a very steep descent down the chute to eugenics. And I have it listed here as eugenics and epic eugenics. Note, people, please note, folks, this is not epigenetics. This is epi-eugenics. Okay? It's classical eugenics, which means the masters should determine who is allowed to live and breed and who must die. Population control and reduction. Gene pool control. Eugenics is the direct means through violence, through chemical means, etc. And epi-eugenics is population control, genetic control through mind control. It is mind controlling the existing population to get them to cull themselves and cull characteristics out of their own gene pool through mind control and mind-controlled selective breeding. I've done an entire presentation on it called The Unholy Feminine, because it works with the female members of our society who largely control which male members of society will be allowed to propagate their genes and which will not. So the Satanists target the females of our society because they know that's how gene propagation works in any given society, through the females. So that presentation is subtitled, it's called The Unholy Feminine, and the subtitle is Neo-Feminism the Satanic eugenics agenda. One of the presentations I'm actually most proud of. And also, it's one that, let me tell you something, folks. You know who comments on and comments me more on that presentation from women than men who've ever mentioned it to me? From women who really want to understand how the social engineers have specifically targeted them. And I have been thanked and given positive feedback and comments on that presentation by many, many, many more women than men have ever mentioned it to me. Because again, who wants to confront the horror? Very similar to people not wanting to understand cosmic abandonment, because they don't want to understand the horror contained within that truth. The same thing when it comes to the mind control over women in our society. If you really understand how tight it is, it's a horror. I mean, I go to freedom-oriented meetings of concerned citizen groups in this city, and men will say to me, why aren't there ever any women here? The 2 or 3 women that ever show up at any of these meetings are personal friends of mine. That's it. Because I promote it and try to bring them out and alert them to when the meetings come up. But hardly any women ever come out to any free. Why? They don't want to be free? And the answer is largely no, they don't. That's the sad part of the society that the society that we live in now. And when men ask me, I'm very, very harsh. I say to them, I say right to their face, the reason there aren't most women here isn't because, oh, it's just they don't like the type of men that show up at these things, or because they don't understand what we're talking about. It's because most women have been brainwashed and mind controlled into not wanting freedom. Most. Not a blanket statement. When it's a blanket statement, I'll say it. But the majority, 100%, absolutely, the majority have been conditioned into that state of mind control. And when I say that, guys there don't want to hear it. They're like, that's a sexist statement. No, it isn't. That's the truth of what's going on in social engineering in our world that you don't want to confront. You don't want to understand that the think tanks who are mind control masters have set society up like that. And that's why there's no women at your damn meetings. That's eugenics. That's controlling the gene pool by mind controlling the population into controlling the gene pool, because you don't have enough people to do it directly. It doesn't matter how much poison you put in the air, the water, food, the medicine, etc. Some are going to slip through your fingers, and you're not going to get the exact results that you want, because that's a crapshoot when you do it chemically too. You want to do that, you have to do it through mind-controlled selective breeding, and that's where eugenics comes in. And you also have the option of classical eugenics, which is directly wiping out populations through war and other means. Folks, these are the 4 main tenets of Satanism, regardless of what anyone will tell you. That's the crystallized, coalesced, and very much compacted tenets of the modern satanic religion. And
thank you, Mr. Passio. It was very interesting, even though I already know this. Bit of a shit show on this live. No one's tuned up. That tells me a lot. It tells me either you're busy watching nonsense, you're asleep, you're out chasing women, or you're just all being moral relativists. Chasing your ego, believing in social Darwinism, and getting into eugenics because you're being mind controlled. Anyway, for what it's worth, it's been an interesting life. See you later.